What's a weird childhood ritual you still do today? I put milk in my ice cream. My dad grew up very poor and always moving around, so even as a kid he learned to stretch a buck. This was back in the 70s. When I was a kid though, even though my dad had pretty decent money, he would still pour milk into my ice cream and turn it into basically a big bowl of milkshake. To this day I still do the same, and I'm 25. It's just how I enjoy ice cream. Makes it a little less sweet, and you feel like you are overindulging on a ton of ice cream when it's about 1/3 milk. When I'm on a hike I pick up a rock and carry it for about an hour. Then I put it down in a nice spot. I've done that since I was a kid so rocks could change horizons and see the world. That's adorable. Haha, I guess. It used to be a real moral dilemma as I debated uprooting the rock and taking him away from his family, but ultimately I always end up doing it. I sort multicolored candies, Skittles, M&Ms, etc. into their respective color groups and eat them one color at a time, but I save one of each color for last, and eat that group all at once. My mum taught me and my brothers about the superstitions with magpies when I was young. Seeing a magpie alone is bad luck, but you could get rid of the bad luck by saying, "Hello Mr. Magpie, how are you and your family today?" None of us believe the superstition, but we still do it. If I'm in public, they get a little salute, but still ask the question in my head, "Good morning Mr. Magpie, how's your wife and children?" I got told it defeats the bad luck of seeing a singular magpie. Saluting makes me feel like less of a loon for taking to myself. Suppose I still do, saluting at a bird. Always take a sip of the water before I swallow a pill with it. Got to make sure the throat works. Makes sense, otherwise, the pill tends to stick to your tongue. Also, best tip about swallowing pills of any size, just drink. Don't think about the pill, just drink the water. You won't even know the pill was there. When I eat a cosmic brownie, I always eat the side with less sprinkle thingies first, so I'm more satisfied when I finish the whole thing. I push all the sprinkles down into the brownie and cover them up so you can't see them anymore. Rushing upstairs or into bed after turning out the light. Sometimes I try to walk to prove to myself I can do it, but then I hear something and the adrenaline kicks in, so I book it. Walk on the side of the staircase so it doesn't creak as much. Didn't want my parents to know I was up and about. Me too, I still skip the 2 squeakiest steps even though I'm grown now and don't have to sneak anywhere. I still shake the milk carton before pouring it. I think this came from when my dad left and all we could afford was powdered milk, but I honestly cannot drink milk if it hasn't been shaken. I feel like it won't be uniform. Normal milk gets nice and frothy when shaken. I blow in my cup before filling it with liquid. I used to think that blowing in the cup would remove the germs. I do that too, but only to cups I use for myself. I do it to remove possible dust, but in reality I probably blow spit all over. It helps with detecting dirty cups that roommates have put in the cupboards, though. When I was a child my mother made a large round rug out of old pants. It's beautiful with lots of bright colors. We loved racing around it as children, pretending it was a round racetrack or doing an Indian dance around pretending that the red center was our fire. As an adult my mother gave me her old rug. I saved it from being trashed as it had no special meaning to her. When I'm pacing my house while talking on the phone or thinking, I catch myself walking around in circles on the rug. It's like my own personal sticky trap. Walk along ledges instead of the footpath. I still do this. I also find myself strategically avoiding cracks in the sidewalk. Well, I mean, do you really want to break your mother's back? I rub my feet together till I fall asleep. Also, saving best food for last. Fries and then burger. Garlic bread then Alfredo. Also rarely drink anything while eating. I always rub my feet together too. It's oddly comforting. If I can't sleep on my stomach with my right knee pulled up and left arm straight out under my head, I can't sleep. Sucks when you have shoulder issues. Reverse the sides, but that's how I sleep when no other position will work. Makes me super sore in the morning, but at least I can sleep. Once when I was a teenager, I was all dressed up for something, in heels, and I did a little mock tap dance in the kitchen. My mom looked at me with a little smile on her face and said, "You know, you used to do that when you were 2 years old anytime you wore your dress shoes." Still do. Dress shoes are for tap dancing. Fancy shoes are definitely for tap. I have a galley kitchen that leads through the center of my house. I like to do the traveling triple buffalo along its length to make myself laugh. Although now I am larger and actually sound like a buffalo hoofing along. Tap dancing is forever. When I go to the beach I always draw a circle around our stuff. Yeah, no, to protect us from the sea bear. There's no CB. The circle works, guys. Edit. Thank you, kind stranger, for the silver. Still sit in the shower like I did when I was a kid. Hell if I'm gonna stand there for the most relaxing time of the day. Edit. A few recurring questions I've gotten. I just sit in the shower, don't have a chair, but now I'm thinking of it. I do clean my shower regularly so it's quite clean. Also, I don't sit when I'm not at home. Seems gross to me. I do it regardless of if I'm in the throes of depression or feeling good. When I see the clock is at a specific hour exactly, like 7 o'clock, I'll very softly say bong that number of times like I'm a grandfather clock. Clock strikes 12, mutters to self, water pipe, 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 water pipe. I used to work in a shop that sold tobacco accessories. Oh man, this is gonna sound so weird and I have no idea why I did this, and sometimes still do. As a kid, I liked to time how long I peed, but I didn't use numbers. I would repeat the names of the fairies in Sleeping Beauty in my head and count how many times I said all three. Flora, fauna, and Merryweather over and over while peeing. Sometimes I subconsciously still do this. It was so constant as a kid it's like I trained myself to recite this when I pee. Edit. Thank you, kind internet stranger, for my first ever goal. If you say it when you're not peeing, does it make you need to wee? When I was a kid, I'd always eat one thing on my plate at a time. Unless it was something like corn and mashed potatoes, then I'd mix that together. I'm a grown man these days, still eating everything individually off my plate. Apparently it's noticeable because people have questioned me about it. These days I just tell them that if I'm poisoned by my constituents, they all know which item was poisoned. That's a great answer. I need to start blaming my constituents for more things. Whenever I go up my staircase I still climb my way up. My KD calls it 4WD. Edit. My first Reddit hardware. Thank you. As a kid, I was terrified of vampires due to watching the original made-for-TV Salem's Lot. I convinced myself that if I slept with the covers up to my chin, they couldn't bite my neck. Didn't work, but I still sleep with covers up to my neck when I lay down in my coffin in the morning. This is going to sound silly, but every night before I fall asleep I lay in bed and write stories in my head. I thought I would grow out of it eventually, but now the stories are just way more complex. Lol. I thought it was just me. I have an elaborate sci-fi story going on and have done for years. I never remember any of it until I start falling asleep. Whenever I hear an airplane or helicopter I look up to find it. Edit. My first silver. Thank you, kind person. I still do that too. It never gets old. Sometimes you get to see really awesome planes too. I've seen a B-29 and a B-24. Make sure the tongs still work every time I pick them up. Got to make the click-clack noise. Whenever I eat a sandwich I start from the crust, so I have all the fluffy part in the end. Been doing this since I was 5. I do this with Pop-Tarts. When I was a kid my dad would surprise my sister and I with junk night. We'd go to the grocery store and he'd buy us anything we'd want for the night. Candy, popcorn, surge soda, ice cream, etc. Then we'd get pizza or McDonald's and a video rental and have fun all night. He only did it like twice a year, but it was always a surprise and so exciting. I still do that with my girlfriend and I'll do it for my kids when I have them. Edit. I'm so glad to hear everyone who wants to share this tradition with their family. You guys are awesome. Sometimes when I sleep, I keep one leg in the blanket and one leg outside of the blanket so I'm not too hot, not too cold. I called it a banana split. I still bite the head and legs off of animal crackers before eating the rest of the cracker. Edit, thanks for my first silver. I always eat the legs first so they can't run away. Once again, thanks for watching. Remember to like, subscribe and share the video. We'll see you in the next one.